Residual Effect by C.A. Wynn. "I think it was bats," Matthew shouted. He didn't have to shout. He had an integrated communication system at his disposal. Even a whisper would have been loud enough. Not in the mood to whisper, he couldn't help but raise his voice. It was a relatively new voice, which didn't help matters. "Bats?" inquired the man on the other end of the call. He was just as loud, his voice filling the room. That was a setting on the comm system. When one side shouted, the system had assumed the other side was far away. Matthew hadn't been certain he liked the feature. Now he was sure that he didn't. Matthew looked at his wife as he lifted his hands toward where his ears would be. She turned and adjusted the comm system. "Bats, that's right. I was dreaming about bats." Matthew was still shouting, though he'd reined it in somewhat. "The small flying rodents?" the man asked. "Yes, bats." Matthew made a hurried keep rolling gesture with his hand to show his impatience. It was a gesture he'd employed regularly before the surgery. Elizabeth nodded, then returned to the kitchen. The man on the other end remained silent. Matthew looked up as though the disembodied voice could see his impatience. Finally, the man cleared his throat. "Mr. Emerson, I'm not sure what you're asking for." "My wife has a large gash on her forehead," said Matthew. "My bed is lying in pieces on the floor, and there are holes in my bedroom walls." Elizabeth called from the kitchen. "Don't forget about the shattered window." "And the window," said Matthew. The man's voice cracked. "The window?" "Shattered," said Matthew. Silence returned. Matthew stood still, waiting. "Mr. Emerson, if you can hold for a minute, I will get one of our counselors on the line," said the man. "That would be great," said Matthew. Elizabeth entered the room with 2 cups of coffee. He watched a look of sadness pass across her face. She must have realized again that he could no longer drink coffee. He couldn't drink anything, for that matter. Matthew tilted his head, wishing he could smile. Elizabeth grimaced. "I think they made you taller," she said. "Taller?" he asked. "They weren't supposed to." "Maybe it's just the shape," she said. "You're definitely thinner. You seem taller." Elizabeth placed one of the cups on the table. She stared at it for a moment. He wondered what she was thinking. He finally broke the silence. "I can't drink that." "I know," she said. "I forgot." They had talked at length about the change. It was necessary. Matthew's declining health called for drastic measures. Back then, none of it seemed real. Now that the day had come, it was much more than he thought it would be. He was sure it was the same challenge for her. Well, maybe not the same, but hard for her too. Elizabeth sipped her coffee, looking up at him. Steam shrouded her face. He wondered if it obscured his face for her. Reaching a hand up, he ran it across his sleek silicone cheek. "We can fix the bed," she said. "It's not the bed or the walls or even the window," he said. "I hurt you." "I know, it's all right," she said. A new voice emerged from the comm device. "Mr. Emerson, this is Melanie Walters. We met while you were recuperating. I understand you've had some complications." "You could say that." Matthew lifted his smooth silicone head upward toward the counselor's voice. His voice got too loud again. "Can you start from the beginning?" she asked. Matthew looked at Elizabeth, then shook his head. "When I woke up this morning, I was standing over my bleeding wife in our bedroom. There were holes in the walls, and the bed was down to 2 legs. "I understand you were having bad dreams," said Melanie. "And the window was shattered," he said. "Bats, I think." "Bats shattered the window?" asked the counselor. "No, I was dreaming about bats," said Matthew. "And when you were dreaming, your body lashed out," said the counselor. He couldn't tell if she was asking a question or making a statement. "I had no idea I was destroying our bedroom," he said. Mr. Emerson, Melanie said, we covered things like this in your pre-op. I personally reviewed them with you following your surgery. As you were aware, our services offer many advantages, but having your brain transplanted is an intricate process. Your new state-of-the-art silicone-based android vessel does not eliminate emotional reactions. The human brain requires sleep, and deep sleep can result in a dream state. For some people, this often translates into unpredictable physical activity. As I recall, you were prone to sleepwalking, isn't that right? Yes, but I cut my wife's forehead. He looked down at Elizabeth and tilted his head. She smiled. He lifted one thin silicone finger and brushed her cheek. I'm afraid that's a residual effect of the surgery, said Melanie. There's nothing we can do about it. The place is a wreck, he said. I understand, Melanie said. I'm sure you can appreciate our position. Any damage you do with your new android body remains your responsibility. If you would like to talk about it further, please feel free to call. You still have counseling available for your transition. Can I turn my body off while I'm asleep? He asked. I'm afraid not, Melanie said. Your brain now controls your new body. We would do irreparable damage trying to change that. We could offer you another body, but that won't change how you respond in your dreams. Matthew lifted his hand, examining it with his new eyes. It looked as he had imagined it would. His knuckles glistened with the early morning sun, just as they had in the first brochure he received. Through the gaps between his fingers, he saw Elizabeth, a liquid bandage mending the cut above her left eye. Elizabeth pressed herself against him, resting her head on his bare silicone chest. He imagined she was listening for his heartbeat. She often mentioned doing that in the past. Matthew lowered his hand to her head and stroked her hair. I guess I'll just have to get used to it, he said. We both will, Elizabeth said, backing away. Please do not hesitate to call if there's anything else I can do for you, Mr. Emerson, Melanie said. Silence again descended on the room. Matthew searched Elizabeth's eyes as she took another sip of coffee. Maybe they could make me able to drink coffee again, he said. Or eat chocolate, Elizabeth said. Or eat chocolate, he said. She smiled for a moment. Then her face softened. Matthew knew that look. Next, her hand would reach for her mouth as she teared up. He stepped closer and embraced her. They stood there while she wept into his cold, smooth torso. After a few minutes, Matthew pulled back. He reached a hand under her chin and tilted her head, meeting her eyes with his. Taller? He asked. Elizabeth examined him from head to toe. Maybe not. End of Residual Effect by C.A.Wynn.